Welcome to the discussion, folks. Today we're diving into that explosive piece by Abby Martin, where she lays out how the US arms both sides in these conflicts while preaching peace.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's really stirring debate. What do you think is the most striking point she makes about the ceasefire between Israel and Iran?
Well, one of the big takeaways is her argument that this ceasefire, which on the surface might appear as a step toward peace, is really just a fragile pause before further escalation.
Right. And she ties that into the US strategy, arming both sides, which seems deeply contradictory to the message of security and freedom they often promote.
Exactly. She calls out the double standard. It's like you can preach peace and at the same time fuel the arms trade.
Yeah, I see that. And it's not just the arms exports, is it? It also touches on covert operations, like assassinations and those shadowy maneuvers, which further complicate the narrative.
Precisely. And that's where the analysis becomes layered. Abby points out that while diplomats are busy talking about ceasefires and peace talks, there's a much darker agenda at play behind the scenes.
Right. It almost feels as if the whole ceasefire is just a convenient break in a longer, tumultuous script of conflict escalation, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's like, setting up for the next act of conflict. The rhetoric of peace is used as a cover up, while in reality the gears of war are still oiled and turning.
Some might say that it's just common geopolitics, right? That every power has its own interests. But then Abby flips that on its head.
Exactly. She effectively questions whether the ceasefire is a sincere attempt at de escalation or just a pause to regroup and possibly plan further actions.
Yeah. But here's something I've been mulling over. Isn't it a bit overly cynical to assume that every ceasefire is just a placeholder for more conflict? I mean, can't there be genuine brief pauses too?
That's a fair point. However, Abby Martin supports her argument with details, like the arms trade dynamics and covert tactics, which suggest that these pauses are manipulated.
Right, sure. So, you're saying that the optics of peace are used to mask underlying less than peaceful maneuvers?
Absolutely. It's like the phrase preaching peace becomes a sort of strategic cover. The same systems that ought to support human rights end up enabling conflict through arms exports.
That really hits home. And if we think about it, this isn't a new tactic, is it? Throughout history, there have been numerous instances of powers using peace treaties as a way to buy time or conceal ulterior motives.
Yep, it's like a historical pattern where power interests override sincere peace efforts. Abby Martin draws parallels to previous instances, making us question whether these measures are ever truly in the public interest.
Really interesting. Now, what about the impact on the people in the region? I mean, with all these arms deals and covert actions, the everyday person's safety and livelihood just get overshadowed by geopolitical agendas.
Exactly, it's a tragic irony. While the state actors are busy negotiating ceasefires and selling arms, the civilians bear the brunt of the ensuing instability.
Yeah, that's a real concern. It reminds me of an analogy, sort of like trying to patch a leaky boat with shiny duct tape while ignoring the real cracks in the hull. The ceasefire is that patch. It looks promising for a minute, but the underlying issues remain.
That's a great way to put it. And then there's the role of media and independent journalism. Abby Martin, through her reporting, challenges mainstream narratives and forces us to look deeper into these tangled interests.
Right, exactly. I think her approach is quite bold, questioning the credibility and the double standards of US policies. But don't you think that sometimes the messaging might be too one-sided, potentially ignoring other aspects of diplomatic efforts?
I hear you, and it's a valid critique. However, her aim is to unveil the complexities that are often brushed under the rug by official narratives.
Yeah, I get that. Still, there has to be a balance, right? While unveiling the darker aspects is crucial, recognizing genuine peace efforts, even if rare, is also important.
True, but in this context, the evidence she provides paints a rather grim picture of how mixed motives govern international relations.
It's that duality, promoting peace on one hand while facilitating conflict on the other, that really challenges the conventional wisdom about US diplomacy.
Exactly. Her commentary forces us to reconsider what peace really means when it's interwoven with economic interests and covert maneuvers.
Right. And let's not forget the timing. She released this analysis just as another round of geopolitical tensions was simmering up. It's like a call to wake up and examine the bigger picture behind the headlines.
Yeah, it's timely. It exposes how fragile these ceasefires are and how easily they can be manipulated.
Absolutely, that's the crux of it. So, in the end, if you take Abby Martin's argument seriously, what do you think should be the response from policymakers and the public?
I think the call is for greater transparency and accountability. Instead of taking ceasefires at face value, there should be more scrutiny on arms deals and covert operations.
Transparency is key. And ideally, that might pave the way for more genuine efforts toward de escalation rather than just using ceasefires as political maneuvers.
Exactly. And for the public, it's about being informed, questioning official narratives, and seeking out alternative journalism that, digs into the truth behind the rhetoric.
Right, being informed is power. It's fascinating how one journalist's perspective can open up so many questions about international relations, global security, and media ethics.
Definitely. And while some might argue her view is overly critical, I think it's an essential reminder that in the realm of geopolitics, simplicity is a luxury we rarely get.
Yeah, can't argue with that. Well, our discussion today certainly leaves us thinking. What really lies behind the words of peace, and what the real motivations are behind these international maneuvers?
Absolutely. It's a call to critically examine the underlying structures of power, to see beyond the polished statements and uncover the truths hidden in the shadows of diplomacy.
Truly thought-provoking. And probably a reminder that for anyone following these developments, it's important to maintain a healthy skepticism while pursuing deeper understanding.
Right, so here's to questioning, learning, and staying aware of the intricacies in these issues. Thanks for the great dialogue, and let's keep this conversation going.
Yeah, thanks a lot.